Exciting times today as Specialized have released their new Venge model, which you may have seen some spy shots from some previous races, but today is the official launch and I am here with the new shape of Speed. Now you'll be forgiven if you think it looks a little bit like a tarmac because, well, it does. It looks very similar, but there are some noticeable changes which we are going to take a look at in a bit more detail, so you guys are a bit more clued up on exactly what the differences are and why you might go for a Venge over a tarmac. So if you take a closer look at the frame, you might have noticed it's a bit more boxy than the tarmac. The tarmac is, of course, their flagship lightweight bike where the lightest weight possible and the ability to climb is of absolute priority. The Venge, on the other hand, is the aerodynamic offering from Specialized. Now, where previously the Venge Vice was aerodynamic at all costs, maybe sacrificed a little bit on comfort or lightweight, this new Venge is a far better all-rounder. So looking at the tube shapes on this bike, you may have noticed that they are very different from the S-Works tarmac. These come from what Specialized claim to be a free foil library. That's what they've termed it. And they have used a supercomputer to come up with the most aerodynamic tube shape possible whilst maintaining the lightest weight. i.e., if you made it any lighter, you'd lose out on aerodynamics, and if you made it any more aerodynamic, you'd lose out on lightweight. So what you can see here is the absolute cutting edge of what Specialized are capable of with their wind tunnel and with a rented supercomputer. So with that in mind, there have been big gains in weight savings. This new Venge comes within 500 grams of the S-Works tarmac. So we're seeing the distance between the two bikes really closing down. That's not to say there's no need to go out and buy a Venge and just stay on your tarmac though. This is by far the most aerodynamic Venge that Specialized have ever made.
So let's take a look at some of the key details on the new Venge that's been wind tunnel tested to be 8 seconds faster over 40 kilometers than its Venge Vice predecessor. So firstly, the bike will be offered with disc brakes and electronic shifting only. Now this is in part thanks to the internal Gabriel routing that now goes into the frame at the head tube underneath the stem. Now, talking of routing, check out the location of the Di2 junction box. It's been hidden in the back of the seat post thanks to requests from a couple of pro team mechanics who are getting a little bit tired of the end of the handlebar integration we are commonly seeing these days. You may notice the handlebar and stem have evolved significantly. Now rest assured these use the standard bar and stem fitment, meaning that aftermarket component integration is a lot easier than previously on the Venge Vice. Stem also comes with this neatly integrated computer mount, and with removable fairings means that you can run this bar and stem on a completely separate bike of your choice, if you so choose.
So let's talk offering with the new Venge. Specialized are going to be offering 2 complete builds and 1 frame set. So the S-Works complete build that you see behind me, this comes with the CLX 64 wheels and this S-Works dual-sided power meter crank, comes in at 9,500. And then there will be a frame set on offer for £3,500. But you must remember that this will also be disc only and electronic only. I will reiterate, there is no mechanical version of this bike. If you're feeling fruity, there is going to be a Sagan edition of the paint scheme, which I think looks particularly bling, and that will be coming in for the same price as well. There we have it, there's a brief rundown of the Venge. Ultimately, it seems like a bike that is far easier to live with than the previous Venge Vice. And really, when looking at it, it's closing the gap between the aero bike and the lightweight bike, i.e. the Venge and the tarmac. I'm interested, if it was your decision to make between tarmac and Venge, which one would you go for? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see how our editor George got on when riding this bike for the first time, click through on the link here.